Josh Urban from East West Healing Performance. Today we're going to talk about two basic things. The first thing is we're going to talk about the basics of polyunsaturated fatty acids and how detrimental they can be for your health. The second thing, this is going to be a short YouTube clip. The second reason I'm really doing this is so we can tell you about how to tune in to learn more about these fats and how they can actually lead to disease, and they are leading to disease in the body. Now, the first thing is, what is a polyunsaturated fatty acid? Well, it's actually unsaturated fatty acids that have open hydrogen bonds that can lead to free radical damage in the body. So they actually attract free radicals. And our immune system produces free radicals in order to prevent, or I should say fight viruses, fight bacteria, parasites, inflammation, and things like that. So free radicals will actually go up, or lipid peroxides will go up in the body in response to stress, because we have these. But when you're eating a lot of these oils, they're in a lot of above ground vegetables, green vegetables, salads, things like that. They're in a lot of conventional meats nowadays because meats are fed grains and nuts. People are eating constantly just nuts for snacks, and people don't understand that these seeds have these polyunsaturated fatty acids in them for a reason, and they have them in there for two specific reasons: for germination, and at the same time they have them in there to protect themselves from animals so they don't get eaten. It's actually their own pesticide. And the reason they produce it is because it blocks protein, or I should say it blocks the enzymes in the GI system from digesting protein. So the animals that eat it, they might not feel good, they won't go back to eating it again. But us humans constantly eat it, so it can actually create a protein maldigestion in the body. So you're eating all these healthy organic foods and you feel like shit because you're eating nuts all the time, because the very thing you're eating is inhibiting the protein digestive enzymes like HCl, pepsin, all these kinases that actually help you break down protein. So it can lead to a protein maldigestion in the GI system, which can lead to a plethora of other problems as well: malnutrition, autoimmune diseases, you name it. Another thing about polyunsaturated fatty acids, beside increasing free radical damage in the body, right? Everyone's on pumping antioxidants, and the funny thing, they're taking antioxidants, but the very thing they're doing in their life and the very thing you're eating is causing the problem. So instead of taking the supplement, right, you're up here with stress or lipid peroxides, instead of taking the supplement to pull it back down, why don't you take and reduce the things in your life that are creating these fires, instead of putting something more in your body to reduce them? Because you're going to reduce them. The second you go off them, they're going to go back up, because you haven't taken away the very thing that's causing it. They will actually inhibit T4 to T3 conversion in the body, leading to thyroid problems. They affect how glucose works in the body. They actually increase estrogen in the body, which is highly toxic and excitatory. It'll actually raise serotonin levels in the body. And that's why research is showing that a lot of animals will actually eat nuts closer to hibernation, because the increased serotonin will actually help them hibernate. So all these things in themselves, the four things I just mentioned, will actually lower body temperature in the body and lower pulse. And this is why you see a lot of people that have cold nose, or I should say women more specifically, called hands, feet, and nose, because they're clinically going towards hypothyroidism. They're not hypothyroid, but they're moving towards it. And you can see this. Basically, just take your pulse and temp in the morning, and if your pulse is below, let's say 70, and your temperature is below a 98, well, you're actually going towards a hypothyroidism. Now, there's much more to do with that. You're not just going to do it one day, and you're not going to do it one time during the day. And there's a whole science behind it, but I'm just giving you an example. At the same time, polyunsaturated fatty acids will actually lead to inflammation, because they actually overproduce estrogen, they overproduce cortisol, adrenaline, histamine, and things like this. Will actually initiate the inflammatory response in the body, and most people are taking them to inhibit inflammation in the body. And at the same time, when you do this, you actually affect what's called gluconeogenesis in the body, and your body's going to start breaking itself down. And when it does that, if you're eating polyunsaturated fatty acids, your body will actually store these in muscle tissues. So then when your body starts to break these tissues down, it releases more free fatty acids, as well as the hormones you're release more free fatty acids, which causes more stress to the body. So it's a huge vicious cycle. And a lot of these things will lead to hormone imbalances, just not feeling good. You're just tired all the time, because all these fats will actually affect mitochondrial respiration in the body, it actually produces ATP, or energy. So you actually decrease the amount of energy production in the body. It actually lead to immune system problems, thyroid problems, hormone problems, you name it, increased swelling in the body. And you see this with a lot of people, they're puffy. So there's many things that are very dangerous about polyunsaturated fatty acids. And the funny thing is our society's pumping them. You see it on TV now. Prescription companies are wanting to actually produce these cod liver oils and fish oils people are taking them left and right. And the funny thing is, everyone I'm working on has been on them for years, and they still feel like crap. So the question is it really working? Well, I said one day it's not really working. So I started to research it, and I came across Ray Peat. This was maybe like 8 years ago. Ray Peat Stuff, R-A-Y-P-E-A-T, his website. He's got a lot of articles on there. I've printed out every single one, and I consistently read them. Haven't made them through all, but there's a lot. His science is very complicated, but his system is actually quite simple. I'm not going to go into it. But most people will poo-poo him. This guy is way ahead of his time. Way ahead of his time. Most people don't understand it. And the thing with Ray stuff is either you get it or you don't. And if you don't get it, you're actually going to put it down. You're not putting it down because it's not really the truth per se, but you're putting it down because you don't understand it. It actually scares you, and the very foundation you thought that was so stable is actually not that stable anymore, and he's actually starting to shake it. So I started to read his stuff in regards to sugar and dairy and gelatin and protein, how it can lead to inflammation, and polyunsaturated fatty acids, and on and on and on. And the interesting thing was, it really twisted my brain. So I started applying this stuff on myself and my clients that had energy problems, that had adrenal gland problems, that had high lipid peroxides or free radicals in their body, that had thyroid issues, that had cold hands and feet, hormone problems, autoimmune diseases, you name it. And the people that I actually started applying this stuff with actually got the fastest results. It was amazing. Even with myself and my wife. So don't poo-poo it. And the reason I'm bringing this up, now I'm going in this general sense. The reason I'm doing this YouTube is because I want you to tune in on November 18th, 2010 of this month. November 18th, 2010. 2 p.m. Pacific Coast time. That's 2 p.m. California time. I'm going to put the link to the Blog Talk show at the beginning of this post. It's long. I'm going to put it also in the description of the YouTube clip. Tune in on that day so you can listen to Ray Peat, author, educator, researcher, biochemist, artist, and absolute genius, talk about what polyunsaturated fatty acids are, what they're in, the basics of it, why society thinks they're so good for us, and why they're being pushed onto us, how they actually affect the thyroid, the hormonal system, the immune system, and our energy systems. And some alternatives to actually eradicate these things from your diet so you understand how they actually can lead to problems, and some alternatives that you can use like coconut oil to actually have the right sort of fats, the saturated fats, in your diet at all times. So tune in November 18th, 2 p.m. Pacific Coast time, to the link at the beginning of this and the description page, and we'll see you there to talk about polyunsaturated fatty acids with Ray Peat.